The ICCFA's most prestigious honor is induction into our Hall of Fame. Since the creation in 1965, this distinction has been reserved for a very select group of individuals who have demonstrated unselfish service and extraordinary contributions not only to the ICCFA, but to the cemetery, funeral, cremation, and memorialization profession as a whole, and ultimately to the families we serve.
Tonight, we honor a leader whose career reflects dedication and not just to excellence, but to people. Darin Drabing began his journey in 1984 as an apprentice embalmer at Forest Lawn Memorial Parks and Mortuaries. Through decades of commitment, growth, and steady leadership, he rose to become president and CEO. Along the way, he has guided his organization through change and challenge, invested in innovation and education, and championed the next generation of funeral service professionals. His service to ICCFA, including his time as president and his unwavering commitment to advancing our profession, embody the true spirit of the Hall of Fame. Darin's impact is not measured only in years of service or titles held, but in the lives he has influenced, the standards that he has elevated, and the example he continues to set for all of us. Before we invite him to the stage, please direct your attention to the screens as we celebrate the remarkable career and the legacy of our 2026 ICCFA Hall of Fame honoree.
In every profession, there are people who leave a mark, not by chasing recognition, but by showing up, doing work, and making things better over time. The ICCFA Hall of Fame exists to recognize those individuals whose influence is felt not just in what they've done, but in what continues because of them. Some careers are defined by moments, others are built over time, not through recognition, but through consistency, through service, through a quiet commitment to doing things the right way. For Darin Drabing, this profession was never just a career path. It was part of everyday life.
Darin Drabing's contributions to innovation.
A lifetime of leadership, service, and impact. As we proudly welcome Darin Drabing to the ICCFA Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming the ICCFA Hall of Fame member, Darin Drabing.
Wow. Good evening, everyone. And thank you, Nadira. Thank you for those kind words. You know, I'm truly humbled by this incredible honor. It's hard for me to believe that the ICCFA's Hall of Fame committee would bestow such a special designation on me. To Lee Longino and the committee, thank you. Thank you very much. You know, I always thought the Hall of Fame was reserved for those older folks nearing the end of their career. The ones with the gray hair and the glasses, needing hearing aids, using a pillbox, and having a strong desire to tell you relentlessly about the good old days. And that reminds me of time in 1984. Never mind. You don't need to know that. What you do need to know is that I'm deeply grateful and a bit overwhelmed. There are people I need to thank, probably starting with my parents. They instilled in me a faith in God that's guided my life. Although they're no longer here, they remain present, kind of like an angel and a devil on my shoulder, both having their place, neither willing to be ignored. Their guidance has shaped my decisions, my values, and my path. To my wife, Helen, my children, Haley and Logan, and my brother, Dodd, who's joining us here tonight, thank you for your love and support, and for allowing me to become the best version of whatever this is. To my Forest Lawn family, an extraordinary group of wise and resourceful professionals who have challenged me, supported me, and trusted me to live up to their expectations. Thank you. Everything I've accomplished is because of you. Now, if you've never been to Forest Lawn, it's a special place filled with special people serving a special purpose. I've been privileged to work there 42 years. That kind of tenure is unusual these days, I get that. But it's made me blessedly naive of the outside world. Beginning my career as an apprentice embalmer, I found myself in an arena of excellence. It was built on a rich history, it's driven by a spirit of service, and it's a commitment to consistent and constant improvement. I'm fortunate to be able to call that home, and I share this recognition with the 1,128 coworkers that I call my friends. I also want to thank my compatriots, or comrades as we're starting to call ourselves in California. In the state association known as CMAC, I especially want to shout out to my dear friend Steve Schatz, who we lost just a few months ago. He helped me navigate a challenging regulatory environment that's often a precursor to what's eventually inflicted on the rest of the country. And to Jerry Desmond, our executive director, whose leadership and diplomacy I continue to admire. And to my friends at the ICCFA, you've allowed me to be just a light, small light, in a huge universe of great ideas. Through this organization, I've learned so much from some truly remarkable people. The association's mandate of providing a unified voice through legislative advocacy, creating educational forums for sharing best practices, and providing a marketplace of world-class vendors that introduce innovative products and ideas is led so capably by our executive director and my friend Nadira Badlindigay and her remarkable staff in Sterling, Virginia. My connection with the ICCFA started 25 years ago when Bill Wright asked me to speak at an annual convention in Orlando. Since then, the association has enriched my life beyond measure. It's impossible to talk about the impact without talking about the people. Where else could I have known someone like the late Paul Elvig, whose eloquent statesmanship is matched only by his love for photography, or share scrambled eggs and conversations in faith with Frank Stewart, learned the power of quiet competence from Erwin Schipper, and the art of being a contrarian from his son David. Where else could I exchange ideas with contemporary thought leaders like SCI's Jay Waring, learn life lessons from my dear friend Gary O'Sullivan and the late Todd Van Beck, or step onto the first tee with Spring Grove's Gary Freitag, completely unprepared for endless hours of nonsense? Where else could I be welcomed by friends from Alpar like Andreas Aguilar, and learn from colleagues from South America, Canada, the UK, Australia, and China, about the ways that our profession affects people around the world. Or be lucky enough to teach courses in Memphis and Atlanta to the next generation of ICCFA leaders at the ICCFA's university. But that's just scratching the surface. I've been privileged to spend time with leaders of world-class organizations like Batesville and Matthews, Precoa, Global Atlantic, Johnson Consulting, the Foresight Group, NGL, SCI, Carriage Services. There's just so many more. I've been enlightened and challenged by entrepreneurs like Mark Krause and Ernie Hefner. I've been able to share quiet moments of reflection with Boston's best, Fred Lappin. I've sought advice from Fort Worth's own Arlie Davenport, and I've solved the world's problems over a glass of red wine with Ray Frew. And I've been fortunate to know honorable men like the late Scott Sells, who would always remind me that he's had my six. I've been lucky to have good friends like Jay Dodds and Brad Green, Mike DeBeese and Jeff Kidweiler, the kind of guys that you could call to get you out of jail, as long as they weren't in there with you. We formed friendships so deep beyond our professional lives that I pray they stay healthy enough to help my son carry me to my grave. I must say, this honor's had an unexpected effect on me. It's forced me to reflect on my life at a time that I wasn't quite ready. I don't believe I'm finished yet, but if this profession has taught me anything, it's that our time is limited. We only have a brief window in which to do what we can with what we have before we pass the baton. But that baton is already in great hands with a new generation of leaders like our president, John Bolton, Lauren Blevins, Shauna De La Cruz, Matt Forstieri, Renee Negretti, Rafael Ochoa, Micah Singerman, and so many others who are leading this profession, doing remarkable things on behalf of all of us and the families we serve. You know, I found if you're not careful, life can teach you a lesson or two. I've learned that it's not what you bring to the table, but it's what you leave behind. And the best investment you can make in yourself is the time that you invest in others. So whether you're family owned or publicly traded, if your legacy isn't sitting next to you, or maybe somewhere in this room, I hope that by next year they will be. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to reflect on just how blessed my life and career have been. You've actually shaped who I am. You've endured my impatience. You've tolerated my strong opinions. You've suffered my occasionally caustic personality. And you've forgiven my many mistakes. So for that, I'm deeply grateful. As a kid from southern Indiana, raised to shoot squirrels for supper, stack chairs in the chapel, and wash funeral cars, I feel I'm far worthy from this honor, but I'm grateful to have friends that apparently think otherwise, although I might encourage them to raise their standards in the future. I am indeed fortunate, blessed, lucky, privileged. Thank you for this once-in-a-lifetime recognition. I'm deeply grateful. I'm profoundly honored. And go Dodgers. Thank you.